All right, we are going to get started with the Lila Way Workshop. We're going to end our pretty background music here. So just give me 1 second. I hope you are having a great day. Oh, wrong slide. We're getting too ahead of ourselves. Okay. Um, all right, that'll work. The abrupt ending of the sound. Hi, everyone. I am Linda Andrews, and I am so pumped to be here with you today. We have the Lila Way Workshop, which you are a part of right now. And if you're watching on YouTube, just enjoy this. You may even be on a podcast walk or whatever, wherever you find yourself today. This is for you. And I want to share this framework, the Lila Way. This is a framework that I use with my one-on-one clients. And this is a framework that you can see continuously being added to inside the Lila Life Collective membership. So now that I'm all grounded, I invite you to join me in taking a deep breath in, exhaling, taking 2 more deep breaths. Exhale. Last one. All right, now I'm grounded. I might not have been 2 seconds ago. So the Lila Way, what the heck is this? The Lila Way is the integrative coaching framework that I use in the coaching practice with my clients. Like I mentioned, I'm Linda. I'm the CEO, founder, and integrative coach at Lila Life. We are on a mission to help people heal from stress and trauma for optimal well-being in their life and business. And if that's you working for a company, if that's you starting your own business, if that's you running a company, I believe this framework can apply to you. And if you are not working at a company, your own company, starting a company, but you say have a family or are super involved in the community, this can also apply to you. This is your way of giving into the world, sharing into the world, and that takes on many shapes, sizes, and flavors. So I'm an attempt to ground what can sometimes be really ethereal, not super grounded concepts and help you apply them into your life. That's my aim for today. And yeah, so how did all this come to be? I worked for 7 years in a big financial firm, Morgan Stanley. I was there in wealth management, and I loved helping my clients, run their money. I worked on a team with my dad. We worked together off and on, or it would be like on and off and on for about 6 years. And one of those years, I served the seventh year in management, and I learned so much. And during this time, I got really curious about finances. And, when I even started, it was like, oh man, I'm going to be able to help so many women and people be able to navigate their financial well being. And for myself, I really didn't have a finance background. I did not. And I wanted to demystify this for myself. And so I went on that journey. And during that journey, I found myself really sick in a number of different ways and having a lot of stress, a lot of old trauma resurfacing, and a lot of confusion. And so as I started to navigate and unpack that, I started to create this coaching framework, which I now call integrative coaching, to be able to help others wherever they are in their life. So we are going to dive in, and this coaching framework that I mentioned to you, there's 3 steps. These are not mutually exclusive. It is my belief that you can be checking in on these many different times and over and over and over. So heal, be, and create. We're going to dive in and define these a bit more. And I say for well-being, consciousness, and well-being. This third well-being is supposed to say prosperity, but yeah, I had a typo. So we'll update that. Anyway, so heal, be, and create. These 3 steps we're going to hop into today. You're going to have some actionable items that you can work on. You're going to hopefully learn something new. And I advise you to take some notes. I advise you to give yourself some time to journal, to write. If you're listening to this live, maybe stopping, pushing pause, coming back to it. But we're going to go over a lot, and it's going to be fun. And speaking of fun, Lila means divine play in Sanskrit. And this is a word I learned during my yoga teacher training. While I was navigating that financial career, I was also on my own healing journey in quest for well-being. So things like literally anything I thought could be some way related to healing, I started studying. And these were things like health coaching, culinary, plant-based culinary, yoga, movement, uh, other coaching certifications, just so much. It was probably well into the six figures mark of training and over those whole 7 years of my time in finance. So I have this really interesting blend of well-being, consciousness, and prosperity based on my own journey, based on my background, and then based on the coaching that I've done to help others. And that's what the Lila Way is. So we're going to start with healing today. Sometimes this word can be really intimidating, and I want you to think about this word and this idea to restore the health to health or soundness, to ease or relieve emotional distress. I'm sure if you think of your own life, there's one or two areas that you can start to think of where you'd like to restore health or soundness or ease or relieve emotional distress. We live in 2023. I started to really evolve this process starting in 2020, where we faced some major global challenges. And, like a sign of our times can be emotional distress. And I think that in that amplification of the awareness of emotional distress also brings it up to really be able to look at yourself and ask, hey, where do I need to work on some of this healing and how? And that's something I feel like I spent 20 years working on. I mentioned a bit about my finance career, but I faced different challenges and trauma as I navigated that career. Prior to that, I was a college athlete. Prior to that, I was a high school student and, just navigating life. And so that, and these little micro traumas, some major macro traumas, all of our journeys are specific to ourselves. But again, applying these steps in this framework can be really helpful. So I say the well-being, the state of being happy, healthy, or prosperous. So this introduces our first term of prosperity. We were supposed to see that in the last slide. You have a chance to define these words for yourself and start to notice the intersectionality of these different topics. And that's one thing that I absolutely adore about integrative coaching is that it proceeds and understands that everything is connected. And these different terms that we're going to first discuss, the heal, the be, the create, you're going to start to see the crossover of these different concepts. And then that's an overlay you can then take into your life and see, okay, where are things connected that I'm not seeing are connected? Where are things not connected that need to be connected? I mean, there's so many ways that can unfold. So we talked about healing. We're going to go to being here, the state or quality of having existence, the totality of all things that exist. Those are some big words. And then consciousness, the quality or state of being aware, especially of something within oneself. And this is where, when we talk about Lila and divine play, and, I said I want us to have fun today, but that divine play, divine, that word could mean something very specific to you. That may mean something different to someone else. You may not even particularly like that word. And so with any of this work, translate it into a way that works for you. But I just want to spotlight a few words, the state or quality. So think about your state of being and then the quality of your state of being, and then how that translates to your own personal existence. And then we'll go a step further and say the totality of all things that exist. So again, this first glimmer here of everything is connected. And in that word integrative, that implying the interconnection of all things. And we look again at consciousness, the quality or state of being aware. And you'll see that word come up a few times today is awareness. And that's like step number one. And so we're going to take a pause for a second here and just notice how you're feeling in this moment. Notice how this information is landing with you. Notice how you're feeling in your body right now. And the quality or state of being aware, again, quality or state. So the state, the isness, and the quality of that being, where are you? And this is where you can start to think about feelings, how you're feeling. And then I love this, especially of something within oneself. And so that Lila, the divine play, like that to me is that divine spark that exists within each and every one of us and then is at play every day in the world and your interrelation into the world. All right. So we have our heal, we have our be, and we do have our create. Creating to bring something into existence. So, are you a mama or a dad? Are you a dog mama or a dog dad? Are you involved in a nonprofit? Do you have your business? Are you an artist? Are you a creator? What are you bringing into existence? And I would love for you to just take a pause in a moment and consider the very many ways that you bring things into existence every single day. And just start to even tune into that. I mentioned, step one with this is awareness. But when you think about, okay, I'm bringing things into existence, I'm having this awareness, I'm bringing things into existence. What are those actions that you're taking that are bringing things into existence? Right now, I'm speaking, I'm on video. These are things that are existing in a video form, coming into existence. There's so many different ways that you do this. And taking that inventory or that audit of those many ways, it's like, then you can start to clean that up. Maybe there's things that you aren't super pumped of how you bring into existence, or you want to make some changes. But again, this all starts from the awareness. And last but not least, I said heal, be, and create for well-being, consciousness, and prosperity. And this word prosperity, the condition of being successful or thriving. And as part of this creative work, it's like, what do you define as your success? What does thriving look like for you? That could mean one thing to you, another thing to your mom, something else for your best friend. And there's a lot of respect for each other and their own definition of success and thriving, and that honoring of like, wow, the divine in me honors the divine in you, and go on, be on your journey. And I'm going to be here being on mine. We can celebrate each other along the way, but understanding that it's going to look different for everyone. And it should, right? We're each this very specific imprint of our own self that although everything is connected, no one can be me and I can't be you. And so there's that beautiful, beautiful invitation to explore what that means to you. So, defining success, defining thriving. If you're a parent, it may be spending time with your kids and having financial prosperity. If you're an entrepreneur, it's like making sure you have time with your friends or your family or your friends and family, but then you also are dedicating time to your business. It's going to look different. And not only is it going to look different, but it's going to change. And so the permission for this to change and to evolve over time is also so important. So take a moment here. I'm going to just scan back through our 3 slides, the healing, the being, and the creating, going one more time a bit slower, and just capture any keywords that stick out. Are there any gaps? Is there anything in your own life that you're like, oh my gosh, that is pinging so hard, that's really sticking out? I really need to pay attention to this. And make a note, circle, star, whatever you need to do. And we're going to dive into some more of the teachings and practices. So, the juiciness of the formula, healing, being, and creating as whole and worthy, as worthy and whole. So much of the trauma and stress that we each face in our own life can make you believe that you are not worthy and that you are not whole. And there are so many different teachings in the world that can actually perpetuate not enoughness, not good enough, broken, not whole. And I just invite you to consider that, you are whole and you are worthy. And what does it feel like to be in the creation, to be in, your life as worthy and whole? And this could really bring up a lot of shadow, a lot of, well, I'm not, a lot of, well, this isn't true even. And just noticing that gap, noticing, if worthy and wholeness is truth, how many ways and in how many different ways are you maybe lying to yourself, telling yourself the lie that you're not good enough, that you're broken, and what comes from there? So I would love you to receive the medicine of the words worthy and whole and see what it feels like to digest. I love using words as a healing modality to be able to really see and understand at that cellular level. And so just let yourself embrace that. All right. So we're going to dive deeper into some of these teachings. We already went over so much. And so I hope you're sticking with us. We have about 15 different things to go over here. So I want to be mindful of the time. And most of these words that you'll see on the screen here are presented in a way that you get the prompt and you get the question for inquiry. So you can come back, rewatch the video. These are such amazing journal prompts. I'm going to buzz over each of these. We'll see what else comes through as we do that. And then we're going to round out today with the practices. And I hope that you can pick one key takeaway and one commitment that you can make to yourself after today's session. There's so much more to discuss, but we're going to get through this. So when we talk about healing, and the following teachings go in order of heal, be, and create. So when we talk about healing, there's some different tools that are so powerful for you to snap into. And one of those is forgiveness. I already talked about acceptance, but forgiveness and acceptance. Who do you need to forgive? What do you need to accept? What are you not accepting? All right. So let yourself be with those words. Who do you need to forgive? What do you need to forgive? What do you need to accept? So often in the energetics of holding on to things, it can be, the not letting go that brings so much of the resistance. And I've said heal, be, create. I've said well-being, prosperity, and consciousness, but you can also think of the three words as a sequence of past, present, and future. So when you look back at your past and you have different things in your life that you're in your own process of navigating and moving through, think about this. Where do you need to sprinkle a little forgiveness and acceptance? And again, this is at your own pace. This is a process, not just an instant magic wand moment, but having that awareness that there could be some pieces of your life that, you could use some forgiveness to and acceptance to. It doesn't mean that whatever happened was right. And I want to really make this distinction here because there could be some extremely tragic, traumatic things that have happened in your life that to just look at that as, like, oh, I need to accept and like, it's okay. It may never be okay, right? These could be horrific things that have been experienced by you, but the invitation with this is to not be letting it dictate you going forward in your life. And so that's really the healing and the medicine. It's for you. This isn't to make it okay what was ever done to you. It's that you're alchemizing the parts of yourself that are still holding on to these different pieces. So the personal responsibility, again, this is a really nice segue to not blaming you, but looking at where are you losing energy that you may be blaming for past things that you can take ownership of the energetics and direct that energy into what your life is asking of you. And so a simple example is, something bad happens and you're blaming another person, and we can't ever change that happened and that moment existed. But it is, in the future moments that you're still giving that energy to that, instead of giving it there, that you can transition that energy to something else that serves you. So from now going forward, responding to your ability, right? Personal responsibility. This word responsible is responding to your ability. And you'll see that theme come up over and over again. Intuition. Oh my goodness. Surrender to the here and now, tune in, listen to the whisper, and sometimes the shouting. So you may have your own version of intuition that speaks to you. I get very clear messages. I get very clear feelings that I can tell I need to do this or that. And they can become crystal clear. They can just be like a full body jolt. And that's going to look different for everyone. And so for you to be able to see what that is for you, do that work. Make sure that you start to learn, how is your intuition speaking to you and what is it telling you? And even just hearing the word intuition, you may have some ideas that come to you already of like, oh, yep, I know what that feels like. And another way I like to think of this, you hear the maternal instinct or the animal instinct. It's like, it's just that deep knowing. It's that truth. It's that non-negotiable that you hear, you have. The feedback loop, what's working, what's not, and how can you plan and revise from here? The feedback loop is like all the money you could possibly spend on coaching, which if you want to spend money on coaching, I would love to work with you. But if you think about the feedback loop and what this is, what's working, what not, now what, you could save a lot of money by doing that and being in that process with yourself, what I recommend on a daily basis. You can self-coach that every day. And whether you have a coach or not, to really maximize what you ever could be getting from coaching, you would want to be doing this. Right. And then choice plus action, the word decide means to cut off in Latin. And so you're making decisions, you're making these choices, you're taking the actions, and sometimes you need to make recommitments. What was possible? What is possible? And again, that can connect to the feedback loop of now what? All right, we're 5 in, 5 more to go, and then 5 more to go of our teachings. You heard me today start off with embodiment. We talked about, getting you feeling safe in your body, helping you feel rooted in your body, especially if there's been extreme stress or trauma. This can be really hard to access. And so being mindful that, you have your body and then you have you, the you-ness, the capital Y you in your body. And so when you can sometimes have felt unsafe in your body, it's about calming down your nervous system to be in the embodiment of yourself. I love doing actual like somatic practices, whether that's yoga, you could do self-massage, even just, giving yourself a hug can be really helpful and grounding to feel that embodiment. Ooh, freedom, this beautiful word. I remember in 2020 feeling super freaked out about the word freedom. And a girlfriend of mine says, I don't understand. You can always feel free. And this is really interesting to consider the ways that you haven't felt free, the ways that you know, feel like external circumstances are preventing you from feeling free? And can you embody that word of freedom and let that word feel like your medicine, independent of the external constraints, knowing that you can get into a different vibration, a different feeling in this moment to then take those steps of alignment to maybe change your circumstance if you are desiring those changes. My $1,000,000 question, the quest to see, is this true or not? What does it feel like to be 100% present all of the time? It's a cliffhanger. So I'm going to let you just take that question and notice where you are. If you had to give yourself a rating of 0 to 10, where are you in that scale? Are you a 10, 100% present all the time? Are you like a 5, a 50-50? And start to notice when you're doing different things, how present you are, and noticing the external influences that can take you out of that present, and see if there's any behavior modification that you need to do there. We talked about acceptance, but I want to just do this again at the being part, because this question about are you being fully present can sometimes be a no because you're not accepting of your current circumstances. And so the only way to get from where you want to be, where you are to where you want to be, is to know exactly where you are. And that's that acceptance of the present moment. We did a few grounding breaths to start off the session today. And, imagining yourself connected to earth, imagining yourself as part of nature. I have this fun pun where I like to say harmony, HARMONEY. And are you in harmony with nature, with the world, with your surroundings? All right. And we're in that creation spot. So we have around creation. What are your gifts? What are you naturally gifted at? What do people tell you? What were you meant for? What are you meant for? What were you meant for? What are and were you meant for? Your joy piece, what lights you up? What gives you that spark to keep going? What are the superpowers? What are you really good at? I'm reading some of these. tapping back into Lila and fun. What could you be doing without getting paid, and what feels like playtime for you? And then again, that impact. How are you inspiring others? What's your ripple effect to people and to planet? So as we scroll through these again, heal, be, and create, I want you to think about those words, heal, be, and create, and think about these different teachings and just jot down, if you haven't already, a couple that you're like, I really want to focus on this, and see what that means for you as you focus on it. What could the next 30 days look like, 90 days look like? And what could be possible if you make some fine tune adjustments to these different areas of your life? So I'm going to take a little breather here, a big water break. If you haven't heard of structuring water and you want to learn about structuring water, it's as simple as your water and understanding that this is your water, and then your body's made out of a lot of water, and you can infuse your water with a different word or vibration. So I could say love, and then I can drink it. You may feel like that's a little bit bullshit, but I've been doing it and feeling great. So wanted to share that. That's our first practice. All right. So some of these practices, they go hand in hand with the different teachings. We're not going to go through all these today. Writing an inquiry, right? You have had an opportunity to ask yourself and look at yourself through a lot of different questions today. And I encourage you to keep doing that. Do it every day. These teachings and practices, applied are wellness, right? Wellness is the practices that equal your well-being. And so take these practices, apply them into your life. And having a daily writing practice, a daily personal inquiry practice is so powerful. And the number one way to overcome resistance and to jump forward in your life is to take aligned action. And that action, helping moment you maybe out of resistance into something new. Talked about the feedback loop, but I want to just touch here on the permission to learn and grow, giving yourself that permission. And that can include to fail, right? One of the best ways to learn and grow is through failures, quote unquote. And so some of these things that you're being really hard on yourself with can be these just energetic sucks and drains, because they become just as much a gift as everything else. Talks about grounding, having a daily grounding practice, especially just stepping outside on the earth. There's so much research about literally what that can do to your body, and just having that discharge is like an ionic discharge from having your feet on the ground. So usually people are in shoes a lot. They may not be barefoot a lot, especially if you have some temperature constraints, like it's negative 30 degrees right now. You may not want to be barefoot on the earth, but when you can and do that safely, get your feet on the ground. My conscious breath, if you will join me. One of the most underrated things happening every single second of your life, whether you are aware of it or not. And if you want to take some conscious breaths regularly throughout the day, activating that deep, deep, deep part of your belly through the breath, instead of taking the shallow breathing, which tends to be more oriented in your chest, so powerful. And energetic boost. This is funny. There's a lot of ways you could do this. I jump on a trampoline every day, and I like to do it for two reasons. One is I feel supported and I'm having fun. Number two, and I have one of those little 3-foot kid trampolines, that I do. So check the weight limit, make sure you feel safe. If you have any pre-existing conditions that could put you at danger or harm, don't do it. But for the people that can, you can literally activate your lymph, and this can be an instant energetic boost. There's a lot of different energetic boosts, cold shower, some of these already, breathing, sip of water, right? So figuring out what are your energetic boosts, maybe it's a nap, but ways that you can do some self-generating energetic boosting. I talked about how using words as medicine. So you could have your little mantra, and it's just about you being in the embodiment of whatever that is. Writing, so good it made the list twice. You have to forgive my 2 typos today. So get back to the writing. And then lastly is meditation. When I first meditated, I did 1 minute and I felt like I was literally crawling out of my skin, and that my type A-ness was my superpower, type space A. And so for you, there could be a certain form of meditation that you like. You could start with some app that you like, and it's just literally starting and doing it and going from there. So add your grace plus Lila. Just add grace plus Lila. So grace, right? The being nice to yourself, the giving yourself the second chance, and the Lila, the divine play. And some things to think about. This is some deep work here that, jot down again some of these keywords that stick out to you. Your shadow self, resistance, secret shame, guilt, comparison, triggering, jealous. How are these stopping you from feeling worthy, whole, deserving in embodiment, abundance, and flow, and not reaching your desired outcomes? We could have a whole workshop just on that. And again, it all starts with noticing, when do you make decisions out of lack and fear, or out of worthiness and wholeness? I have a couple questions that I want to leave you with today. What is your highest expression? What do you need? What old wounds need healing? What boundaries can you honor within yourself? So spend some time writing on those. If you have anything you want to share with me, you can email me at linda@lilalife.co. I would love to hear your biggest takeaway and your one commitment. And I'm hosting these weekly workshops on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. And so the replay will be here on YouTube, which you're getting to see right now. But if you want to join us live, go to lilalife.co and you can see the happenings link, or you can check us out on Eventbrite. And if you're not already a member of the collective or need one-on-one support, I am taking one-on-one clients right now. You can book a connect call right from the website. And you can also get access to the on-demand content to go deeper in your own journey. So with that, I thank you so much. I wish you an extra wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Really nice. And we'll see you soon.